Episode 9 of the Broken System story of EXO Alex. I didn't know what to call this episode, and I thought I would call it For the Record. After my son passed, I was really distraught. I felt like I couldn't function or talk without crying. I couldn't express my feelings or my emotions and telling people how I felt. I felt I had to protect my son even more. All his bullies, they started to bully me too. I had to reevaluate my circle as people would attempt to get close to me, and they were eager to say what happened. What happened to Alex? Is there a case going on? Are they investigating on what happened to him? Everyone seemed to come out of the woodwork. I was wondering why no one came around when he was alive, and I actually needed their help. Me and Alex had just went through one of the hardest times in our life. We felt betrayed and abandoned by the ones who said they would always take care of us and be there for us. Alex said, "Mom, why do you even tell people anything? They don't really care." I learned the hard way what he meant that day after he passed. Everyone was always talking about his father, and now my son was being faced with the same stigma that I wouldn't know until shortly after the funeral. I remember the day of the funeral now. It took me almost 2 years now, and my memory is more clear now that I'm not hanging around with ones who want to fog up my brain more. It seemed everyone wanted my time. They all wanted my time. Who I was talking to, what I was doing, constantly getting messages. I had to explain myself to everyone that I didn't even know how I felt. I just felt like I wanted to scream and cry and run away from everyone. I would later realize the ones who always asked about his dad were talking about my son negatively behind my back. I was re-traumatized when students from the Rio Rancho High School, yes, that's where Alex was going when he passed away, they started texting me saying they were my son's friends. I told the social worker and the principal how Alex passed, but I did not authorize them to make lies to the students about my child. I felt especially betrayed by one of the people that I told was a principal at Lincoln Middle School when me and his dad went there. I thought she would have cared and not stigmatized my son the same way that his father was stigmatized. I didn't want him to be stigmatized as his dad's son. The first dad in New Mexico that gave his own child fentanyl. And of course, that's how they stigmatized my son. A student texted me and asked me how he died and proceeded to tell me that the social worker told all the students that my son was in and out of rehabilitation and he was a drug addict. This broke my heart. Now I know why my son was refusing to go to school the day he died. Just 3 days before, he said, "Mom, please, just take me out of this school." He said there were drugs, guns, and staff that didn't care and would single him out, and that the staff just let the kids do whatever they wanted to do. And when he reported things, he would be labeled as a snitch. I told the social worker the issues he was having. If I would have known everything, I would have told him he didn't have to go to school Monday, February 28, 2022. The social workers and staff of schools need to support our children, not push them out of school or encourage them to drop out of school or start rumors. You never start rumors about another person's child, especially knowing what really happened and all the facts from all the meetings that I had with them. That's what really hurt me. They would, of course, tell the kids to stop talking to me when I got all this information. When Alex returned to school on January 10th of 2022, I had a meeting with everyone, including the principal, the nurse, the social worker at the school. about his stay in the ICU at Presbyterian Hospital. They even had records showing the stay. So this in and out of rehab, and to set the record straight, no, Alex was never in and out of rehab. I have medical records to prove that, and I shouldn't even have to answer anybody that because of an adult woman social worker that started this rumor after my child passed away. You don't start rumors like that about another parent's child. If you're a social worker, you're there to help our children and our youth, not make their life worse. It just breaks my heart that she jumped on the bandwagon with all the students at school and started to stigmatize him instead of really helping him. I would later learn why she showed up at my son's funeral and said, "My daughter died the same way." That's what I remember when she came up to me. Those are the words that she said. And I didn't understand, and it looked like she could barely get those words out. I'm not sure how her daughter died. I don't know if somebody set her up and poisoned her and watched her die, because she said that her daughter died the same way. And these are the things I'm talking about. You can never compare your grief or how your child died or anything. Everybody's feelings are different, so I really don't appreciate that. And it's taken me almost 2 years to finally stand up and have my voice now, since the Rio Rancho School District still has yet to get back to me when I emailed them and talked to them. And they said they would get back to me. I've still yet to hear from them. So their school board will be hearing from me. You know, I have to pace myself and my health and everything. And for some reason, the Rio Rancho Public Schools don't seem to want to educate their students about what's really going on in the schools, much less the parents. So that's not okay to me either. I just didn't appreciate her telling lies and starting rumors, leading me to change my number. I was getting hundreds of text messages from all these kids at Rio Rancho High School. When May 2023 Rio Rancho High School graduation came, there was no mention of the children who died, no memorial, no talking to the school about fentanyl poisoning. You know, Alex's death, it was really hard, and it still is. But one thing that really saddened me is the school that I graduated from, that I talked highly to everybody all my life, even my own child, and put him in there. They didn't want to address his death. We could have used his death in ways to educate the children at the school about fentanyl poisoning and what can happen. But it's like it's a secret and nobody wants to talk about it. And they just look at you like you're the crazy mom who lost their child to fentanyl poisoning. But you know what? It can happen to anyone. I never thought it would happen to my child. And look where we're at now. It can happen. I felt so betrayed once again. I felt that putting him in Rio Rancho High School was the stairway to his death. After moving from Albuquerque, from the robbery, from my car getting stolen, and I just put him in a worse situation. But I know it's not my fault. I've worked through so much therapy and everything, and it's not my fault. I was doing what parents do. You move, you put your child in a new school. You know, just want the best for them. I had no idea the kids were connected to the people who would lace his wax with fentanyl and watch him die. He was around sharks who wanted him dead, and he didn't tell me everything I saw in his phone months after his death. He knew I would tell the police, and he had bad experiences with cops not helping him. Instead, he was re-traumatized by Rio Rancho police 3 months before he passed. The woman cop who searched him by his growing area and took his phone and still has not returned it. That really traumatized him. He was caught with another teenager stealing alcohol that night They unlawfully took him to the station, interrogated him for 2 hours before he was allowed to call me. And just so you know, a child under the age of 18, if they are arrested, they are supposed to contact the parent. They're not supposed to take the child to an interrogation room for a few hours and not notify the parent at all. And the way that Alex came out of there and the things that he told the police officer when he came out and the way that the police officer looked at me too, I know when people are lying. I know when my son's lying, and I know when people are telling the truth. And I'm very disappointed in those police officers that pulled out a gun on my son and interrogated him for 2 hours and kept his brand new iPhone that I now have to pay that's in Verizon collection. So, these are the things that I have to deal with now. And so it's just hard reliving all of these traumas, but now reliving them without Alex. I will never forget that night when they called me to pick him up. He said, "Mom, I told them my rights and they didn't let me call you. My son was once again betrayed. I now understand why he told me to finish my book and to be careful. He said that there's good cops and there's bad cops, and that he hated Rio Rancho because of the trauma he went through as a child. And the people who broke into our home and threatened to kill my son on June 21st, 2021, and stole my car, still have yet to be arrested. In New Mexico, the victims don't really have as much rights as the criminals do, is what I've learned throughout my experiences with the different systems. You have to fight for what's right when you're at your weakest with your own money. There's no help for victims. There's no appointing a free attorney or anything like criminals get. So you rack up thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on your bill with the lawyer if you're fighting for your child to be saved from the family court system. Or if you need good representation, you have to pay. It's all about money. Also in civil court too. Even when your child dies, you have to have money to fight for a wrongful death suit if those people don't have money because they're drug dealers and they don't have items to seize. So the system's been pretty hard. But thank you for everyone that have been truthful and stuck by my side since before Alex passed. You really find out who is real and who is fake in your time of grief. So thank you to the ones who didn't treat me like I was crazy. I truly hope those ones get the mental help that they need that were hateful to me. When someone is grieving, they deserve love, not abuse and not hate. I am grateful I am now awake and aware and ready for the next chapter on fighting for justice and helping the victims in New Mexico more than the criminals who continue to traumatize the victims in our community. So thank you to all the good officers out there that continue to protect our community. And thank you to the ones who didn't take advantage of me and my money and my heart at my weakest. Thank you to the ones that didn't sit there and pour alcohol down my throat just to shut me up, or offer me things after my son died just to shut me up so I wouldn't talk about him. So thank you to everyone for keeping me alive, because those ones that kept me alive, you allowed me to keep my son alive and to help others. So thank you for listening to episode 9 of Setting the Record Straight on the broken system story of XO Alex. I will leave you with a song that I wrote and sang called Going Crazy when I was at the weakest of my grief and learning how to talk again. I found the background music made by my son, Alexander Landon, aka XO Alex. He taught me how to write, how to express my feelings with everything he left behind, and he taught me how to find my voice again. So thank you, son. I know you're not here to physically finish your music, but I am, and I will.
JK, really?
Jimmy on the beat, boy.
I was only 16, you see. I tried my best to be me. Mama was never treated like a queen, but you were my king. Never trusted his ring. He sat there and watched me get raped. I laid there. I tried to escape, so there we go. He owed for snow. I was pregnant. I got thrown to the floor. Decided I couldn't be around her no more. You try to get help, but you could barely. Y'all got swept under the rug by all these snakes. Don't know how much more I could take. Mama gave him chance to be a good dad, but he always yelled and made us sad. He was always mad, but I was glad you were all I'm mother had. Who to trust when it's always lust? Everyone just used us and left us in the dust. It's so hard to adjust when you don't know who you can mother and trust. Mama didn't want you to follow his lead. She tried her best to protect you to routine. Then him and his new queen pulled you in the scene and told you they were mother clean. He watched you choke and watched you smoke. When the cops called me, I thought it was a joke. He went to jail. Up. Alex didn't think he would make me a fell. He was too scared to face 18 years in jail. He should've just went to mother hell. He bribed the victim. The judge wouldn't listen. This is what I mean when I say a broken system. I never thought they would stoop that low. It's like they all enjoyed the show and didn't think I would know why you're really 6 feet below. Who to trust when it's always lust? Everyone just used us and left us in the dust. It's so hard to adjust when you don't know who you can mother trust. Just waiting till I go, till you call me home, cause I can't do this alone. Everyone try to get me blown, but my son and Jesus are sitting on the throne. Now I know why they